Hello, good day. Irini Hara streaming from Oslo again in a beautiful autumn day. We have sunshine and it's not yet so cold, but we can feel it's changing. The weather is changing and we are slowly moving into autumn time. It's been a while. I haven't recorded anything in terms of lectures and speaking about the usual subject. You already probably know me. If you already saw some other recordings of me, of my topics, to say like that, which is trauma, is one of the focus uh, in my work with and for people, but also other topics. But today I want to bring you the body wisdom and trauma topic because it is something that pop-ups in many different occasions and life situations. And as I'm also freshly coming from a weekend workshop where the topic was the body and how safe we feel in our body and with the others. It was actually um, entitled Trust in the Body with two beautiful facilitators that are also couples, Suki and Thomas. And for me, it's been a very deep and actually mind-blowing experience. And I'm not going to share about the workshop itself, but about some of the reflections that both the workshop and other happenings, events, or contents and that I see circulating around brought to me in these last days or in the recent past. And you probably also know that I speak a lot also about how much trauma affects our body and how much the body is able to be our guide in what the trauma mechanism and healing from trauma are concerned. And I have a spiritual practice. When it's possible, and I have occasions, I still do rituals and ceremonies. There'll be actually a ceremony for equinox on 22nd September in the evening in the woods near Oslo. There is the event that is on my Facebook page in case you want to see and wish to join a group of people that are going to work with the equinox energy and fire ceremony and also some sound healing. So I have this practice that is very much embedded into shamanism and womb shamanism, as I work also with the medicine wheel of the womb and heart, and with the medicine wheel of Mary Magdalene archetypes, and so on. But not doesn't matter how much spiritual work that for me is personal development work I do. I always have in mind the fact that every action or intention that we place, even in ceremony, has to be grounded and has to reflect also our needs, but also our will to connect with the body. Because if we practice spirituality in many different ways, nowadays there are so many different ways, and there is modern or urban shamanism, which is an adaptation of the old traditional ways of the shamanism. There is Tantra with a whole bunch of theories and practices. There is the embodiment with also a lot of philosophy and theories. There is the yoga and so on. So no matter how much we want to rely on all these spiritual contents and practices, in my opinion, one of the focuses of this work has to also include the body, the awareness about the body states, the body mechanism to show us when something is dysregulated or dysfunctional. Many cases, these are already symptoms and illnesses, especially if we don't pay attention to the body for a very long time. And in other cases, it's just events in our life where we either have accidents or we have to be subject to some consequences due to other the fact that people have to escape areas of conflict or areas where calamities, natural disasters are happening, and so on. And all this can bring and impact the body through the trauma that they create. And I believe that this word embodiment is used, overused, and abused nowadays, especially in the spiritual community. Maybe not so much in the area of therapies, especially those that focus on healing trauma, because in that case, I believe that most of the practitioners or therapists should be at least informed and aware about what means the body and how much knowledge and wisdom carries inside. And there are many authors that publish around this topic. And while I work and with people and I observe how they express themselves, what they carry in their own body, also observing myself and how actually my body sometimes interacts or how the body sometimes hides things from me because then when I feel that something is still hidden, is not something that I can connect very easily, then the body self is probably showing me that it wants to protect me from something. But then, of course, you can also go an overprotective mechanism. And then the quest would be that, okay, it's something that I feel is there and I don't know why and I don't know what. Let's go and explore. Let's find a method through which we can explore the body and why I feel like that. Or we can actually explore more even when we feel extremely overwhelmed or when we don't feel anything because we choose to shut down. Some of you might also know about this window of tolerance where we can navigate safely between hyper and hypoactive states of our nervous system. But when we lose our guide or our guiding light, to say like that, and the body is completely messed up and upside down and very dysregulated, it's much more difficult actually to tap inside the body and to listen and to understand and to feel what's happening there, to get those clues that will show us the way in getting out of those states of shutdown or overwhelm or other states in between that are not our normal state or it shouldn't be our normal state and um, that only will create more imbalance also in our life. So I was saying that I often hear people, especially those who practice a lot, all sorts of mindfulness exercises and even very much attached to the notion of the soul and maybe also those readers or yeah, pagan practitioners that want to work with magic and interested about past lives and soul evolutions. I often hear from them this idea of being grounded And of course, there are many ways to ground your body, but when I reflect on what actually is said and what is not said, because to a certain extent I have this ability, as I also work with the morphic field through constellation work, to understand when something is hidden and not fully expressed, I often notice that is a kind of disconnect, and that those people, maybe they are really genuine in their intention and thinking that they ground themselves into something, because it's not always that it is the body. But then I notice in the way they speak, in the way they do certain things, in the way they relate even with other people, including their clients or the people they want to share things with, then I notice there is no full or very limited connection with the body. And many people mistaken the simple exercise or recommendation to go barefoot and walk in the grass or in the woods or in the beach, especially in summertime when it's possible, with the real concept of grounding in the body. Because for me, being grounded in the body, it means that you are fully present in the body. You are fully aware of the states of the body and how your own trauma mechanism and the coping mechanisms function inside the body, or they express in the body and through the body. And often this doesn't happen because they think they ground themselves, but it is not the type of grounding I wish to speak about and the way I understand it. And it's not a judgment I place on those people or the way this kind of grounding is understood. It is mostly my own experience because I have a body too. I'm a human being. And for many years, I lived in a very disconnected state because of many traumas that have been overlapping and accumulating. And I was not able to understand them because I was not even aware what was there present in the body. And then I didn't have tools at that time to actually work with them. There is always something that was telling me something is not okay. You should go and search. But it took a while until I actually started to take myself seriously, because this is the basic requirement that you need to actually get really grounded and present, fully present in the body, is that you start to take yourself seriously. And instead of developing all sorts of excuses and theories and ways to keep the disconnection, you start to do something to first identify why you disconnected and when, and then to reconnect. Do something to reconnect. And as I said, for many years, I lived in a disconnected state. And then I became a mother. And then there was a life inside my belly. And the body started to express many different things. Of course, there was love, there was care, there was will to bring this new life to the world. I really very much wanted to have a child, and I wanted to have a boy. But then life presented me with challenges even during the pregnancy and at the birth and after birth that were completely unexpected, and some of them really difficult to go through. And the body spoke to me in ways I never thought before would be possible. And then I started to look a little bit with a bit of more attention, to say like that, and to listen more and more, and to try to figure out what actually was happening to me. And in a few years, actually in 1 year after my son was born, then I started on this path of reconnection, which was very slow. It was 11, no, 10 years ago, more or less. I was coming from a very deep trauma, actually a multi-layered trauma, because there were many other traumas hidden with a long history, even before the conception from the matrilineage and the whole ancestral lineage. And I started to notice, I started to inquire, I started to search for guides and mentors and uh, therapists or coaches, but I would prefer a therapist because the coaching world is filled with people who go into the mind and they are also preaching and proposing their offerings from a disconnected place. Quindi that's why I always reflect on this and I say we have to be careful. So returning to the body, yes, 10 years ago, I started on this path of reconnection. And I always tell myself, why didn't you do this before? Why did you wait for that big happening of having a child and being heavily traumatized at his birth because of several situations and factors? Why did you wait so much, so long? Well, I don't know. It might have been the fact that I was already almost 40 and I had more experience of life, and maybe the body was already also more aging and with more issues and less will to always try to survive. Anyway, the main thing is that I started and I'm still continuing on this path of reconnection because I'm really fully aware after all these years of working myself and healing from deep wounding and trauma and figuring out all this complex puzzle that is my body and my psyche altogether. I'm fully aware that this work is continuous and will never end. And here it's something that always amazes me to see a lot of people when I ask them, okay, do you say that you work a lot with yourself and that you did a lot of healing work? And when I ask them, did you do any real trauma work? They look to me like, what are you speaking about? Because my answer to them, even if it might be a little bit shocking for some of them, is that, yes, you said that you spent 10, 15, 20, 30 years in working with yourself and doing personal and spiritual development work, and you never work with your trauma, really? Then you need to start now because all those years you just lost your time. And I'm not saying this because I want to seem like, oh, I know it all. I'm saying this because I know the difference. Even before my son was born, I was into many things. I studied astrology and numerology and tarotology. And yeah, I did all sorts of courses and trainings. And I was starting to be more and more interested in this and how I can develop myself, how I can get to know myself. But then in 2018, there was a kind of door opening into something more deeper, and it went even deeper. Because then the body, through constellation, art therapy, trauma therapy, somatic therapy, just opened. And I started to understand, wow, what the shit is here? There are so many things that have been hidden and suppressed, and I didn't know. And mostly, I didn't know how badly they affected me all this life and how much they still can affect me in the future if I don't do what is supposed to be done. And you will ask me, how do I know? How can I claim that without trauma work, there is no real work? Because trauma work is the equivalent of gathering from the big splits that you have inside your psyche and body, all those lost fragments, and bringing them together so you can become whole again. So you can feel yourself as a whole body and soul and mind and whatever you want. But the first will be the body, because the body gives you all the elements you need to feel and to understand and to explore. And you will ask me again, but how do I know when I'm whole? Well, you will never know, but at least you are on the path in achieving this wholeness. It takes time, it takes effort, and it takes courage. Building a relationship with your body, getting again to listen and observe your body and to understand and to go to the source of your suffering or disconnection is a huge thing. And it's not something you can resolve from today until tomorrow or in 2 weeks, in 2 months, or even in 2 years. I used to tell to people, just to break a little bit the seriousness and somehow harsh aspect of the truth I'm revealing to you. I used to tell to people when they ask me, but what are you doing? How do you do this? And it's like, well, there are many people who, when they have a little bit of money, they would prefer to buy a nice house or a nice car, or have like a very luxurious vacation or something that costs a lot. Or even go to spa and have, I don't know how many sessions of spa and things like that. So like a VIP treatment. And they don't care about themselves. They don't care about living in connective or disconnected states. Respect to the body, of course. And then I tell them, well, yes, it's a choice you have to pay attention to the body and try to connect and stay present, or not, or chase all these illusions in the external world. But you know what? All the therapy and the work I did to heal the traumas and to be more stable and regulated in my own body costed a lot of money and effort and energy and time. And I prefer to invest in this because it's an investment in myself and my own well-being and growth than to go or and buy that car. I don't actually have a car. I have a garage compensation. Or to do that very expensive vacations and so on. It is a matter of priority. But for me and my observations of how the world thinks and does and how people live their lives, this is the best, the really best and most important self-investment. And it's damn hard to actually understand how much time and resources you are wasting when you actually place your attention on all these external factors and situations and gains instead of turning the attention inward and connect it with the most precious tool and container that you have for your own thoughts and feelings, and that is the body. And once you start, you don't have to start everything at once. It will actually be impossible. But once you start this process to reconnect and to understand you will notice that something opens. It's like a big window of miracles and opportunities that you never thought of before, that you never even took into the consideration before. And it's very possible that actually this window becomes so big and so full of so many potentialities that your external life starts to change. Maybe you will start to earn more money because you're cultivating your relationship with yourself and you become more aware of your own power, of your own voice, of your own skills and talents that you never thought you had. And then you start to use them more fully and more aware and more focused. And then this will pay off. But if you do the opposite instead, and many people in our society are actually conditioned to live like this. If you do the opposite and you ignore completely all these signs from the body and what the body wants to tell you, this body wisdom I'm speaking about, many people go into outer world and they establish I don't know how many objectives and they have so many dreams to fulfill and they think they are ready for everything and then they start to stumble. At the first difficulty, they might back down or just understand that they are not fully equipped for the challenge or for what's happening there. Or others, they just go into the overworking mode, workaholism, and overachieving and always serving others so they can gain some benefits. And then nothing happens. Actually, they just get exhausted, burn out. They start to take pills because it's what the mainstream doctors will prescribe you, pills for depression, pills for ADHD, pills for whatever your body shows to them because you're not able to listen to your body. So you will give your power away to those people and the system, and you take everything they offer as a treatment. I'm not saying that you cannot take medicines or it is wrong to take them, but sometimes we are so much disconnected and we don't listen to our needs that we will take whatever is recommended as a panacea or something that can soothe our state or give us this illusion that we are healed. And most of the pharmaceutics nowadays, they have side effects and we are not even reading them because in the prescription, they are obliged to put them. How often do you read a prescription when the doctor says, okay, take this pill because you have high cholesterol and then, I don't know, diabetes or other problems, heart attack, or take this and that and that and that. And then you are 60 or 70 years old and you already take like 10 pills a day. And your mind is telling you it's okay to take all this because yes, you are stable. And the body then says, oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I have this pain and it's never going away. And so on. So what I'm speaking about is just a very little part of the whole picture, of course, because there are so many different cases. And it's even difficult to generalize. But this is a normalized trend of a dysfunctional way of dealing with ourselves and with our body. We give our power away because we live in disconnection. We don't even understand what it means to connect and be fully present and to understand our own state and to know what to do without having always to ask those outside us because we carry also the answers inside. And I don't want to go into explaining more about traumas because there are other videos on my YouTube channel here where I speak about many aspects of trauma about boundaries, about differences in different approaches nowadays, and so on. I only wanted today to come and speak in general how and to show how much we tend to neglect something that is so important for us. Is what keeps us alive. It's what makes us function in the world and what can guide us in this life and help us to take informed decisions and be grounded. And this is the body. So if you have any discomfort today, even in this right moment that you speak to me, maybe you want just to throw some shit on me because you think I'm speaking bullshit. You can do it. But if you want to do this, first connect a little bit with your heart and feel inside what and ask why I want to do this actually, because I'm very triggered, but where this trigger is coming from. Because maybe she says something that makes sense, but I don't want to listen, and it's something that feels absurd to me. Understand your trigger. And if you agree with what I'm saying, then let's just do a simple exercise. Maybe you get some insight. Maybe something just pops up or illuminates about your own state. And this exercise, it's very simple. And you can take me as your mirror and as your colleague for um, this exercise or a pair for you. Or you can try with someone close to you later. But I'm going just to invite you to take a deeper breath through the nose. Flush the breath inside the body and then take it out through the mouth. And you can take it out through the mouth with a sigh or a noise that's coming from somewhere in the body. So, and then repeat this breath other 2 times. Ah, ah. And then continue to breathe normally at your own pace. But now feel inside the sensation of your body. And if there is any part of your body that requires your attention now. For example, in my case, I can say I have a tingling sensation in my feet and lower legs. And I feel the desire to expand the thorax, the diaphragm, to breathe, to take in more air. What about you? You can actually verbalize. It's almost like you're talking to me. I cannot hear you, but imagine you are talking to me and you tell me the sensations in your body. And where specifically, what kind of sensation. And then once you get all these answers, then you start to connect with that sensation in that part of the body or in the organ that you identified it inside and ask this simple question. What is your message for me? What do you try to tell me? And for example, in my case, if I connect with the legs and feet, they will tell me, you need to do something to ground yourself a little bit more. And I know this what it's all about because I know myself. So I might need to make some movement or even a feet massage, which I was already thinking to do it before delivering this lecture. But then, yeah, I said, okay, I let it for later. But I should have done it because it's actually something that my feet would need now, a connection, a better connection with something that moves that energy and tells me, yes, you are present in your body, you are fully present. What is the answer of your body for you, of your sensation? What does sensation says to you. You can verbalize it so it becomes more present and you connect even more. And then you go to the next step and you will ask again that sensation or that part of your body that spoke to you already. How can I help you? What can I do so you either get better or you improve or you just disappear? Because if it's a big pain, of course, you don't have to take to have that pain for the whole day or the rest of the day. How I can help, what I can do for you, and see what the body tells you. What is the answer? Because this is the body wisdom that will speak for you and will give you a valid answer about what you can do to improve your state. And for example, if I ask this sensation in my feet and legs, what they need, they for sure need to walk, for example, to have a walk and maybe also massage. So these are only three very small but very important steps when you can use them in your daily life, and that will give you the basic and the most important information to be able to reconnect with your body and to understand your state and how actually you can improve the state, how you can regulate it, self-regulate it. And if you would be here in presence with me, you might actually be able to continue the exercise and go even more into the embodiment and find other resources. But as long as you are only with yourself and you don't have another person to co-regulate to help you do this, you have a lot of resources that your body already knows them and feels them inside you. The only thing you have to do is to stop 1 second and start to notice, observe, ask questions, receive the messages, and then implement those actions that help you reconnect more and more. It's just a hint, a tip. Consider it the tip for your self-practice. Do it at least from time to time when you feel that you are too much out of yourself, too much investing in outer reality with other people and situations. Take your energy a little bit back from those people, situations, environments, back to yourself, and start this conversation with the body. And before I'm going to finish, I actually have a very beautiful somatic therapy exercise cards that I bought, is done by horiakadi.com. You can I bought them online. So if you go to horiakadi.com, you are able to order them. There are 28 somatic therapy exercise cards. And it's written what they are all about because they're very simple. And many of them, you might even use them without knowing what they're all about. It says somatic therapy techniques play a crucial role in the regulation and healing of the vagus nerve, which is integral to the autonomic nervous system. This system governs diverse bodily functions such as heart rate, digestion, and stress response. Dysregulation or imbalance of the vagus nerve can lead to physical symptoms like anxiety, digestive issues, or chronic pain. Somatic therapy can effectively address these manifestations and contribute to overall well-being. And of course, it's not only somatic therapy you can do, but this is one tool that for me, it's really very precious. And for today, and it even says here that you have inside this deck of 28 cards, grounding exercises, tapping exercises, body movement, breath work, and also sound work. Because these are a few of the very important and very simple tools that you can incorporate in your daily practice to effectively create this regulation of the nervous system and especially of the vagus nerve that is extremely important. And for you today, to complement the small exercise that I already started with you and I proposed you today in this lecture, I want to extract one card from this deck and see what kind of exercise is advice for today or whenever you find this lecture, and try to take it and use it whenever you feel it's important and you need it. Okay? And so what you got is bounce flow. You have also the image, but I'm going to read so you know how to do the exercise because it's a little bit about your body bouncing. And is written, bounce flow is a movement routine that combines rhythmic bouncing and flowing motions, including dance or fitness elements. The benefits include elevated heart rate for cardiovascular fitness, improved coordination and balance, mood enhancement, increased flexibility, mindfulness, enjoyment, and opportunities for personal expression and creativity. And here you have the explanation of actually how to do it. So first you position your feet comfortably, maintaining a shoulder width stance for stability. So your shoulder has to be a little bit not stretched behind, but in a good position with the feet at the level of your shoulders, so on the ground, and you are standing. And then you begin a gentle bouncing motion, which can be like that, allowing your entire body to respond to the rhythm. Your knees can flex slightly as you bounce. So it's just a movement of bouncing forth and back. Let your body naturally respond to the bouncing motion. Allow the rhythm to guide your movements. And the bouncing can be forth and back, but you can also try in other directions. You can actually change from time to time. Bounce flow exercises can be a fun and effective way to improve cardiovascular fitness, flexibility, and overall well-being. Beautiful and very simple exercise that your body knows how to do it. You just need to follow these instructions. So try today. Try to do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, as long as you retain necessary and you have time. And then notice before and after what's changed and how your body feels, how your body reacts to this regulation exercise. So I hope that these thoughts that I brought to you today will open that window inside yourself and that you will start to reflect and do something so the window opens more and more. I call it a window of tolerance, but it's a window of awareness when you create this perspective of understanding that you can connect with your body all the time, and it's the most valuable guide for you because it has so many natural resources. Tap into those resources, listen to the body, and explore. It will bring you a lot of beautiful and healthy states and wisdom too. Thank you for watching. And if you feel called to know more about how I work, what are my methods, just go on my website, www.palomablanca.ro, or connect with me by email or by private message on Facebook or from website. And subscribe to my newsletter too. And of course, if you are a newcomer, subscribe to the channel for new contents in the future. Thank you. Have a blessed day. And blessed be your body.